Today I'm going to just show an exercise for mixing colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is maybe I'll cut some little holes in this paper with a paper punch. Okay. And what I did was I just looked for a photo from the Ojai magazine. And I chose this because I liked the variety of color. It's some of the colors I love. And I thought, if I were to choose a few of these, let's just see if I can mix them. We'll start with gouache and see what I get. And then if I have time, I'll do some with watercolor, but I'll start with the gouache. And the first one, I've got to get water. I don't dare put it out early because of the cat. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do here is choose a color that I think. Oh, I see I don't have any white on here. I have to get some white. So squeeze out another. Because when I'm working with gouache, I have to lighten and darken with white, black. So I'm adding this. So what I have here is my palette that I used before, and I have color squeezed out on here on a wet paper towel. It dried out, so I had to put more water on the paper towel, and that probably helped to constitute it again, but I might have to put some more from my tube too. Usually, you need a little more white than you do color when you're working with gouache. And I'll put a little bit of black too. Even though I don't really like to use it, I'll put it on here. This is ivory black, which is a warm black. And the colors that are on here are the primary yellow, permanent yellow deep, ultramarine, primary blue, primary red, and spectrum red and yellow. Well, no yellow ochre. All right. So let's just go ahead and see. So I'm going to choose, the first one I'm going to choose is this blue right here. There are a couple blues on here. There's this one and this one. They're not the same blue. So I'll start with the blue. And I'm just going to add a little bit of white to it and see what it looks like with white. Keep in mind that It doesn't take very much color when you're working with adding white. You should have just a little color and more white. So now I can see, because I know a little about painting with gouache, that this will probably dry too dark. See if I can put it on a little piece of paper and we'll see what it looks like when it's wet. Now we'll hold it up next to one of these. Okay, that one looks like the one in the photo is a little more purple, has more red in it. And this one here is a little more of a grade, kind of a violet blue that I can see once I hold this here. And it's not dry yet, it's wet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of red. Well, this one here, I said I was going to start with it. So I'm going to start with it. I know that I'm going to have to go lighter. So let me get more white. Okay, and now I need to add a little bit of red to it.
Sylvia,
Yes,
is the purpose of the wet paper towel, is that just to keep your pigments wet?
yes, with gouache, that's what I do.
Okay, I hadn't seen that. Thank you.
So now I just added a little bit of a red to it. It was the red that's on the blue side. Now I'm going to try seeing what happens when I hold this over the swatch. It's not dry, so, and the light isn't great. I should maybe turn on my hot light. Okay, now I know light colors dry darker, so it's lighter now. Let's see what happens when it dries. And let me see if I can turn my hot light on. Okay, well, it takes a little while, so while it's waiting for that to dry, why don't I mix another color? So now I think I'll try mixing this purpley color over here. So I'll take this blue, which is the one that's more toward the red. And I'll take a little bit of the red that's more toward the blue. Need a little bit more blue. I think it's kind of watery. I don't have enough pigment. So I'm going to add more pigment. And see what happens if I put this on a swatch. I'm going to put it on this end first. Now I know that a darker color is going to dry lighter with gouache. So this is a little too red. We can see that. Although it's, it's fairly, as it's drying. A little closer, but a little tiny more blue I need. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to it also. A little bit more white. I should get my palette knife instead of using the brush. So I've lightened it up quite a bit. The white also makes it more opaque. So now that it's lighter, I know it's going to dry a little darker. So let's just see what happens here. I'm going to bring a little more color, darker pigment into it. Let me try this now. Keeping in mind that the light colors are going to dry a little darker. So I'm going to lay that over that. Now I'm going to put this back over this. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that my swatch, I don't know if I can get the camera closer. Let me try. The light's shining on it, so it's hard to see, but you can kind of see, yeah, it's not too far off. It's just that it's kind of a watery mixture. And on this one, you can definitely see that it's a little too light.
Yeah.
Stop. So, okay, so now I'm going to try to adjust it. I'm going to try to adjust the blue, make it a little darker. So I know that what I used to do that was a little bit of the, now I'm getting mixed up. Which one? Oh yeah, I used this one. Oh no, I didn't, did I? I used the other one. Because it has a little bit of toward the green, because I wanted to gray it. I don't know, I'm mixed up now, what I did do. All right. So I'm going to try one more little swatch here. I've got all these made, so I might as well use them. I'm not using quite enough pigment to give a good flat opaque. I'm going to put a little more.
One of my strong takeaways from that Mark Carter video is his emphasis on getting the value right. He stressed that over and over again, and then adjusts the color after the value dialed in.
Well, with gouache, it's a little hard to do.
Yeah, I was going to add that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I think I went too much of a dark blue. Okay, let's say I want to try to work with this now. What would I do? I need to make it more purpley, right? But I want to make it more gray, so I'm going to see what happens if I add a little of this other red to it now. The one that's leaning toward the yellow. Need more pigment. Okay, I gotta put a little more red in. But I'm gonna use this red. I'm getting farther and farther from the truth. Okay, now I feel like I'm starting to get there. I'm getting more of a violet here. It's probably this other one that I was wanting to match. Okay, here's the other thing you can do is you can, after you've painted your swatch, you can also cut a hole in it. And you can take the hole you punched out and put it on top of what you're trying to match. You see what happened when I put the hole that from what I painted? It looks fairly close. This one. Let's see, there's one. Oh, I stuck my thumb right in the paint. Okay. So it's not, this is a little too violet, what I painted here. This was the first one. So here I had it pretty good, but I just didn't have it dark enough. So you see what I'm doing. It's just a matter of adjusting it again. And if I were actually doing this in gouache, I would try to, if I was doing a fairly good sized painting, I would actually try to mix it into a baby food jar or a film canister. Oops. This one's fairly close. Now, the thing is, can I do it again for the painting? So these are a couple
Even,
of,
even Otto Kano said you'll never get it exact, so.
right. The idea is that you would actually not be, you would be doing this while you're painting, you know, it's like, you'd say, oh, I got that, so I'm gonna put that on there. So that's the process. Does anybody have any questions about that?